This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Welcome, everyone, to yet another episode of Diagnosing the Aftermarket A to Z. I'm Matt Fonsland. How many times do I have to teach you? Just because something works doesn't mean it can't be improved. That and more after a word from our sponsor, NAPA Autotech Training. Let NAPA Autotech's Build-A-Tech program, like Build-A-Bear, help you turn your general technician into a moneymaker for your shop. Make them a profitable member of your team. Go to napautotech.com for more details. I present now another entry into the growing catalog of episodes where Matt being me, tries to, maybe make a stretch, certainly bite off more than I can chew. Again, probably either getting used to it or really, really annoyed with it. But anyways, my wife and I usually, before we turn in for the evening, watch an episode of something, watch a TV show, if you will, TV, whatever that means now, not a movie. I guess I don't want to necessarily give away the show as it's relatively new, but I also don't want to give away spoilers. I'll just say it's a reality/challenge type show where contestants can win money at the end, and they kind of form teams and they can work together. And at the end, the team can win money and they split up the grand prize. And the grand prize, of course, is a fairly significant amount of money. Now, of course, it sounds like a lot of money before taxes. And I mean, free money, or if you want, I guess in this case, it would be very difficult to call it free money. But it ain't nothing. Even after taxes and all that, you still could end up with a good bit of money. In this particular series or season, you have this group. There's 3 members working together. They're going up against another group that's got a few more people. In this group, 2 of them are kind of strategizing, because if they win, and that's the problem I have, is it's a big if. If they win, they have to split up the prize money 3 ways. But if they could get the other guy, the other person, to go home, well, then they'd split it in half and they stand to gain a good size of money, good amount, big bump compared to if it was divided by 3. The other contestant had echoed some physical issues, and no doubt all of them are experiencing some issues. So they leveraged that against them and they really nothing short than flat out lied / gaslit the guy into thinking that they are looking out for what's best for this person, that they truly, and I guess I kind of skipped a very important piece here. These 2 got some information that the finale was coming up soon. So they have this information. The third doesn't know about it. So this person that they're going to convince to go home has no idea about this finale. And they convince them to go for their own health and their best interest. They're looking out for this brother of theirs. And they care. They care so deeply. They don't want to see him permanently scarred for life or health issues because of this. And they are flat out lying to him. And I guess it is. It's just they're flat out lying. There's how much further do you go with that? They're lying about so much. Lying by omission. Lying about caring about him. Lying about how this is in his best interest for his long-term health, and it's not worth it. And they don't even know how much longer they have to go before they even go for this final challenge. And so this person just feels so good about his teammates looking out for him and caring so much about him that he goes home. And then, of course, they go on to win. Before they set out, there's interactions between them and this other team a little bit. And I guess one of the members of the other team came over and kind of offered to join theirs, help strengthen them up for this finale. And they reject them. They want to keep it 2, right? They want to split this prize money in half rather into thirds or more. And they're discussing it, these these two gaslighters are discussing about this person coming over and asking about joining up with them. And then if the other team would ask, any of the members from that other team would ask if this person had been over there potentially thinking about defecting, they were not going to lie. They have too much integrity to do that. I don't know how people talk like that without the words literally burning the flesh off their tongues and gums and mouths. And how is it possible to do what you did to a teammate and then honestly think you have too much integrity to lie to somebody on the other team? And yet, I think we see this a lot. And I think this is classic egocentric bias. We are the stars of our movies, and we have an idea of who we are that may be wildly inaccurate. And we make it up as we go along. We write ourselves the script that best fits the narrative we're looking to project or live to, or that's exactly what goes on. And we see it time and time again in real life. We see it time and time again inside this profession, outside of this profession, be it just watching somebody play victim cards. We see it lying to customers, right? I mean, that's the obvious one. Trying to puff up that ticket, raise that average ticket, try to hit whatever goal so we get a big bump or even a little bump, some kind of a bump, really some sort of positive reinforcement that we start stretching the truth or flat out lying. I mean, I think obviously flat rate's always been the big example. That was the quick one with techs. If there was not enough work or that paycheck was looking really, really thin, mortgage is coming up, rent's coming up, child support comes out of this check, whatever it is, some big payments coming out of it, big expenditures. We got to do what we got to do to kind of increase that check. And how do we do it? Production. And if there's not enough vehicles to do that on, we have to get the most from the vehicles we have. And if we're looking over vehicles that just don't need much work, unfortunately, the client may find there's recommendations for things that if the vehicle is taken in for a second opinion, particularly where there's a situation where the tech's mechanical and technical specialists aren't strictly rewarded on production, or at least not so heavily rewarded that they may be in disagreement. And that's assuming they're not biased because the client went in and said, hey, shop A said it needs all this work. And then it don't matter what the pay plan is. Shop B most likely is going to negative gatekeep. And just, oh man, they're going to disagree no matter what, which I guess is a whole different episode, but NAPA Autotech training sessions are being conducted day and night in a town near you. This training caters to every level within your organization, be it a mechanical assistant, a mechanical specialist, a technology specialist, or a driver safety calibration specialist. Imagine a one-stop shop training partner in NAPA Autotech that will lead your team to a path to greatness. Autotech's entry-level Build-A-Tech classes convert the untapped potential of your new hires into money-making mechanical specialists. Autotech's higher-level tech update classes introduce specialists to the world of ever-changing technologies, which prevents your shop from getting technologically stagnant. Remember, if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. And, turning to the front of the store, the Autotech Service Advisor class is an awesome way to hone your client advocate skill set, ultimately benefiting the customer through an improved vehicle repair experience. But it doesn't stop there. Imagine an electric vehicle class that takes your specialist well past the mundane, yet necessary safety topics. Well, it's here. Autotech's EV Ready training is a week-long curriculum that takes participants through a hands-on experience involving hybrids and electric vehicles. The session kicks off with the use of PPE and proper tooling while touching on required OSHA regulations. Then, the students dive into the lab vehicles to gain knowledge of the common high-voltage components on EV and hybrid vehicles and their function. Attendees will be taken on a path exposing them to different electric vehicle manufacturers to compare component form and location. Additionally, information about Level 1 and Level 2 charging systems will be included, along with a quick look at DC to DC charging. The operation and maintenance of subsystems are explored, including the different modes of Tesla operations, and so much more. So what are you waiting for? Commit to taking your business to the next level with NAPA Autotech training. Anyways, we're talking about that, the integrity thing, and it's everything, right? Maybe you're riding the clock to go home and you're just justifying it because, oh man, I worked really hard up to this point. And maybe you have worked really hard, but that's kind of what we're supposed to do. Work hard, work smart, produce as much ethical profit as we can for the business, hopefully in exchange for the business compensating us as much as it can while providing us the best work conditions it can, keeping us well equipped, well informed, well trained. That should be I would think when it comes down to it, that's the fundamental agreement. I will, as an employee, I will try to produce the most ethical profit I can following the goals of the business. Meaning, and like specifics, maybe my personal job is to focus mainly on undercar, and then Tech 2 bays over from me they're primarily heavy line engines and trans, whatever, you know what I mean? But we're executing the goals of the business. In exchange, yes, we've agreed upon some sort of a compensation package, but while we're working to improve in whatever way we can, be it our processes, helping the shop with its processes to increase that profit, the business needs to be looking to always better compensate, always better equip, inform, improve work conditions. I mean, it just seems like that's the fundamental thing. Okay, so we're making up reasons. Licensing, I think, is the technical term for our behaviors. And we just write the script however we have to, so that, I don't know, if we feel better about it, justify it in our own minds. And that list could go on and on and on and on, right? We can just rattle stuff off. I'm sure you can sit there listening to this going like, I got it. I can come up with my own examples, and great. But let's kind of go back a little bit on the flat rate thing. And I'm not trying to just go off on flat rate. Okay. I don't think I need to. But one thing to consider, and it goes back to this show too, there's something called the Cobra effect. It's really an example of reward. And where it comes from is historically, I believe, and it could be BS, because I've also heard the same thing with squirrels, just in a different part of the world. When Britain was occupying India, they were not enthused with all the cobras. So they came up with an idea. Bring us the tails of a cobra and we'll give you money. The idea being that it would greatly reduce the population of cobras, especially in the cities where they're operating out of. And it started out, that's what happened. The population of cobras plummeted. People were trapping, catching, killing cobras, bringing the tails, getting paid. But humans, we can joke around to a degree that there's a lot of idiots out there, but there's a certain entrepreneurial spirit that humans have, that many have. And so what do you think happened? I have this reward. Bring me as many cobra tails as you can get. I'll give you money. I'll give you good money. I want you to go catch as many cobras as you can. So after a while, somebody's going to start wising up, and not just somebody, somebodies. And then when word gets around what these somebodies are doing, then more and more are going to do it. What do you think they did? They started raising their own cobras. They bred them en masse. And then they would slaughter them and bring the tails in. So effectively, the cobra population skyrocketed. Not that a lot of them were out on the streets, but the ones that were on the streets were left on the streets. The tails being brought in were bred specifically to get paid. Or their tails were removed and they're released and then caused this population to spike anyways. So it becomes an issue with reward. You have to be really careful about what you're rewarding. And flat rate rewards production, like pure flat rate or heavy compensation or heavy reward for production. Of course, we want them even in my example, we want people to produce as much as they can ethically. Same with the flat rate system, right? They want you to produce as much as you ethically can, but the carrot's there. If production is rewarded so heavily, how many times does it happen that a job is suggested, recommended, sold, not performed because it wasn't really needed? Shop got paid, tech got paid, got the reward. Or something that really didn't need to be done got done. They had the integrity enough to do the job, even though maybe not enough integrity to say it really didn't need it. How many other types of rewards do we have? And it's not just monetary. It could be anything. Isn't it the child psychology even? Attention. Attention's kind of a reward, and kids need it. Absolutely. If they're not getting it enough when they're behaving or not misbehaving, they're not getting enough of that attention. We're too focused on our other things, phones, games, TVs, work, tasks that need to be done. The kid figures out they misbehave, they get the attention. It's not good attention necessarily, but they get it. They need it. It's a reward thing. Something worth considering. The Cobra effect at home. We do it to each other. I mean, not to make this into the parenting 101 episode, because you should know I do not have that stuff figured out. But another one that just kind of pops into mind is if the kids behave, they don't get your wrath. If you misbehave, they get your wrath. And yes, that's attention, but also they grow up being people pleasers, right? But not all of them, but a lot of them end up being people pleasers. And not necessarily a good thing, because they have learned, unwittingly perhaps, that they are responsible for our emotions. It's the Cobra effect. And it just expands out. I guess the long story short is, how good of a job can you do, you yourself, me included, how good of a job can I do to step outside of myself, to try to remove as much of my bias as I can? And it's not easy. I'm not saying I have got it figured out. I don't want to imply that I have it figured out. But can I do it enough to step outside and watch myself or my environment and my effect on it, and like I'm watching a movie, and see what story am I telling myself? What narrative do I think I'm playing to, and how am I manipulating the script? And am I really doing it? And then can I call out others constructively as possible when they're not? And if I see a lack of integrity in the back, can I step back and go, what is my contribution to it? Now, maybe tech to tech, that's rough, but management, when I'm starting to see abuses, what I would consider abuses, is it the reward system? What part do I have to play in this? This would be, if you go back to episode 85, I talk about special cause, common cause. And when do we really get involved and do something? This would be a common cause. The reward system is part of the system. The only thing that's really going to change anything is changing the system. It might be a shop meeting time to discuss what we do about this reward system, because the employees have to own up to, do I like the system? What are the issues with the system? And maybe it's not. Maybe it's really just, we do like the system. We have to alter our perception of what we're doing. We have to operate with more integrity. I don't know that that's the case, right? You really don't start operating a certain way without being motivated to. I don't know that it's always greed. Sometimes it's because you feel like you have to, and not because you have to prove anything to anyone, but it's because you have legitimate financial obligations and many, many other, maybe I guess a slightly difficult comparison, but many professions, you show up, you get paid. And yeah, on the flip side, when the going's good, the paychecks are really good too. So there's a balance. And maybe part of the issue isn't so much changing the system itself. Maybe slight modifications, slight tweaks, constant improvement. Maybe it's having a financial advisor stop in, or putting on some classes, if you will, on money management and how to remove. I think everyone can be honest about cost of living versus income. And sometimes that will suck as management to realize the cost of living is very high and your compensation package is not getting it done. On the flip side, it can be a very difficult pill to swallow when you realize, you know what, getting paid a little bit all right here. The biggest problem's me. What do I do? What do I need to do? And that would be a perfect scenario for an advisor or financial advisor or just some classes. A lot of stuff out there to learn money management and how to squirrel away a little bit when the going's good and be ready for a few dips. And then, of course, what does the shop got to do to minimize the dips as much as possible? What can it do? Can it be proactive? Can we see when these are most likely to happen? Is it February? What can we do to try to minimize that? Be proactive. So, like everything, right? I just keep coming back to it. It's not just an organization, it's an organism. Multiple systems working together for a common goal. Anyways, I will leave you at that to think about integrity, egocentric bias, what your script looks like, why it looks the way it looks, and the Cobra effect, and how the reward systems can unwittingly cause unintended consequences. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you to NAPA Autotech Training for sponsoring. And thank you to the Aftermarket Radio Network. Until next time, take care.
You've been listening to Matt Fonslow, diagnosing the aftermarket A to Z on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Matt on your favorite listening app. He's very interested in what you have to say. Let him know what you'd like him to cover and come on the show. Matt is all for advancing the aftermarket. Find Matt Fonslow on social media and connect or on aftermarketradionetwork.com.